Well, that ends rather abruptly, doesn't it? Good evening, everyone, and good on you for being in here on the dot, nice and sharp. Good evening to Kelly and Ash. Hi, Karen McAllister, Lisa, Joy, and Joe. Joe, it's hoping you're on the mend and feeling much, much better. So here we are, Monday. What some people kind of dread, the day they dread, oh, here we go again, that kind of old attitude, the old way of looking at things. And I'm getting ready for you this evening and seeing who might present us with their presence to bring through some messages for you, and perhaps what it is that they would like your attention to be drawn to. It was very much around old, the old. Hi, Kylie Russell, welcome. Um, yeah, the old and the old ways of doing things. When I held today's learning class in Soul Mastery Collective, it was about gut health. And gut health is a favourite topic of mine, and it's a great one to delve into. And for people looking at traveling down the path of being able to live through the mastery of their soul, the wisdom of their soul, um, and to really find that expansiveness that the soul offers, you'd wonder, whoa, what's gut health got to do with that? Well, gut health has everything to do with it. When someone is labeled with some kind of condition, illness, even an injury, what that does is it sends old patterns into gear. And if you've had some kind of, oh, Melchizedek, good evening. So if you've had some kind of incident in your life as a child, or any time in your life that you haven't really been able to reckon with, which means release it, sort it, and move on. You know, the police say nothing to see here, keep moving. And if we took that attitude with recognizing what it is that took place, we would move on with ease, but we would move on with a greater wisdom. Instead, we store it away, sit on it, and then bury it, whatever it is. And you know, it could even be something so very, very simple, but we will choose to put our perceptions, perspectives, expectations, limited thinking on top of it, a bit like building a old-fashioned tiered wedding cake. There's that word again, old-fashioned, old patterns. Melchizedek has shown his presence here, and he couldn't be a better master to have present for such a topic. And I have to tell you, when I was getting ready, there was no evidence of who was going to be present. When I'm brought a topic or something comes forward in imagery, anything, they don't always present with a corresponding messenger. So it's equally as much a surprise, a beautiful surprise for me as it is for you when they come in sort of during the course of things. And who knows, who else might join us. So Melchizedek is a super, super being. You know, the Marvel movies with your superheroes, Melchizedek could be right up there. Has a very intense, for me, I find he has, and yes, I'll reference as a he, a very intense energy and a very direct. There's no fluff and fairy floss with Melchizedek. A little bit like Archangel Metatron. No fluff and fairy floss there either. Maybe that's why I work well with them. I just don't do that fluff and fairy floss stuff very well, if at all. So patterns of old and behaviors of old and how that impacts in your gut health, it's like the chicken and the egg. Which one came first? And Melchizedek says, kind of a silly thought, as you always come first. And what he means is there's nothing in your life and what you experience that you weren't first in. So the way that you have perceived something, the way that you have chosen to sit with it, to push it down, hold on to it, is all about you. So quite amazing to think you're in your own production and you are the star of the show. You are also the producer, the set creator. You're the whole thing. How's that feel? Wow, you're not only the star, you're everything else. You're also the film producer. So you launch yourself into every stage, ta-da, of where you're at every day. In among that is the gut health. And the gut health is a very important piece of the puzzle when you are looking at yourself through your human eyes. So gut health is really the song of the messages of your soul when you are not listening, not paying attention. I met with one of my beautiful girls today that worked with me. She did her personal training. I was her mentor as a personal trainer. And then she enjoyed my approach so much that she stayed on to be one of my lead trainers. And we caught up today, and it was absolutely awesome to see her. And she was telling me about what came about in her hands. Now, I had seen this last time we caught up, which is several months, or she says that this situation was like 12 months ago. And I noted the redness and inflammation on the palms of her hands. And like most everybody, good evening, Karen, she ignored it until it got to a point where it was breaking out on her body in different areas and creating just too much issue for her. And she was horrified to find that someone told her that she had parasites and a staph infection in her gut. Whereas when I saw her, I asked her why she didn't attend to what was inflaming her, what was really irritating her in her life. And as usual, she gave me her typical roll of the eyes and said, I'll have a look at it one day. So she tells me today that she's had to go on this really strict protocol to get rid of these parasites. Now, parasites in themselves, if you've got kids, even if as a child you remember your parents giving you worm medicine, that's the parasites that we're talking here. And there are many different types. And there are other also bacterial types of parasites too. But the ones that hook into your intestine and can hook into your stomach, they can also hook into your heart. They are really, really ugly beasties. And they literally do hook into the walls of the intestines in particular. You can get them in other parts of your organs, like the heart. So if you've accumulated a parasitic infection, I'm infected. So what? What am I infected about in my life? What's infecting me? and it's brought me to a state of inflammation. What am I inflamed about? So parasites steal all the goodness out of your food, and they give you a yearning for sweet things and like crappy carbs and things, and you can't get enough of them, but you'll find that you have a really big appetite and be back looking for more. They are very hungry beasties, and they know how to drive you. They know how to make you yearn for, salivate for the food that they want. Now, think about that. You are the host of some other life force that is able to drive you, and it takes up residence in your physical self. What? What a thought. And yet it is as common as a blade of grass. Well, that maybe not so common anymore. It's as common as the sun shining. So when you look at yourself as the star of your show, the star of your film, your grand production, that is called your life, and you bring in the characters. Oh, yeah, you do. And you bring in the experiences. Good evening, Jackie. Welcome. Wouldn't you rather not have parasites? Now, if I put that into an external example, how many of you have had friends that you feel just take from you? Have friends that are like what are called good weather friends. Oh, yeah. They turn up when they feel like it. They're sort of helpful when they feel like it, and not much else. They're parasites in a human form in your movie. So what is it about living this life that we want to hold on to the past, be a victim to the past, and have these replays of our movie over and over again? Well, that is called being caught in the traps of this third world experience. Third world, not third world countries, right? It is called being caught in the denseness of the lower worlds that exist here. And in any moment, you can make a change with your script. You can make a change with how you want to be living, playing out your role, your starring role in your movie. What about people who don't hold a starring role? They forfeit their power, their personal power. They become somebody else's minion in their movie, and they hand over their sense of personal self. Women are very good at that. So Melchizedek offers to you today to really have a look at whether you are in the trappings of belief in old things, in the ways that you are acting your role in your own movie of life, your life. Yesterday, I was with a beautiful group of people. I was actually with 3 groups of people yesterday, but lots of those people are what I'm going to call people of truth. And it's really interesting looking at the different variations of truth, of perceptions of where they sit with what they see as being wrong in the world, what they see as being unfair in the world. And, those of us who understand things on a different level know that mainstream media are not the place for you to find truth. However, in the other side of these people of truth, there is equal amounts in there who have their own agenda and who are there to portray a difference in the truth, in the story, and the way they put it forward, but it's still not a level of higher truth. It is still a truth that sits in the murkiness and the muddiness of what's going on around everyone who's in that movie. I like to be like one of the old-fashioned, there's the word again, back in the day in the black and white movies, anybody remember those? They often showed a person that came on the stage with a mop and bucket. And they would even have characters in the movies that had a mop and bucket. So they were thought of, as the cleaner. And they came on to clean the stage. Now, if you were to put that in perspective into your own movie, you would be the cleaner of your stage. But how often do you clean it of the stuff that is layered there? It reminds me of the dance floors of old days that are sticky and they have to put cornflakes on them so that people can actually glide around the floor. But what have the cornflakes done? They've just sat on top of the sticky. The sticky hasn't gone. Long time ago, in pubs, hotels, they had grand carpets, absolutely beautiful carpets. But over the years, because of the way that laws changed, people's attitude changed, lack of respect and so forth, those carpets became squidgy and sticky and smelly because they were never cleaned properly. So your mind, your gut are just like the stage of a play, stage of a movie, carpet in a pub, the floor of a dance floor. What do you keep putting on the top? So you're building up all this thick layer of junk and gunk. And most of it is retarded, useless information. More importantly, it's useless beliefs and attachment to experiences, attachment to things that have come by your life, your stage, your show. And in part of that is the thieving that parasites do. So gut health is all of that and more. And it is a very important piece of the puzzle when you want to be able to have the glory of the mastering of your soul leading you in your decisions and in your impeccable lead performance in your own movie of life. I said to someone yesterday, the last event that I went to, at the end of the day, I want to slide sideways into that box and say, what a ride. Let's do it again. What a ride. I'm out of here. Right? But I'm going to go in there with that attitude, not with the attitude of all of that stickiness and that big, thick layering of the stuff that I've wanted to believe is true, the stuff that I've wanted to hold me back in my life, stuff that is piled on because of other people, circumstances. No way. No way. I'm going to slide into that casket like I'm on the shiniest dance floor ever. Don't even need any cornflakes because it'll be so dash clean, sparkly, shiny, waxing, shoop, straight in there. Good word to us to use. Yes, Jackie, it is. Parasites. Absolutely. And we can be a parasite on Mother Nature. So it's like the ecological ecological circle of life, the ecological environment, we're very much in that. So yes, we are actually a parasite on Mother Earth. So looking at how you want to be getting into that casket, are you going to be sliding in there sideways going, whoa, what a ride? Or are you going to be stick along the floor, needing cornflakes to get in there? Or are you going to make it the most painful journey because you're dragging everybody else's life along with you? You know, in all seriousness, what is someone else's life that you don't even know? So they're not somebody that you love. I'm going to get to that too, but they're not somebody that you love. They're someone you've heard of. They're a friend of a friend, a relative of a friend, a relative of a friend's friend. You know, the word gossip comes to mind. Idle chat that we engage in that is absolutely useless, and it is part of the construct of this construct. But once again, you are star of your own movie. So what you entertain yourself with by way of conversation is 100% up to you. In every group that I went to yesterday, so I had 3 outings yesterday, I was very selective in whether I was going to stand and listen to what was being said here, because it was like open groups. So, you know, people wander around and there's all different conversations. Was I going to stand and waste my energy, or was I going to move on? Was I going to contribute? And if I was going to contribute, what was that going to bring for them? And how was it going to be of help in keeping my frequency high? So while I'm, you know, in among everything, I'm also observing and making a conscious choice on how I'm going to participate in that environment, and then down to the micro environment of talking to 1 or 2 people, or like the later event of the day, being sat in a group of people with different conversations being started, and one person in particular asking for hands up, asking for opinions on things. And again, I chose to watch, observe, take words with a grain of salt, and decide whether or not I was going to participate. Where am I if I'm not participating? Well, I've gone very much inward, or for me, I could have gone out to a different realm. I could even have chosen someone that was in the audience to have a little snoop in, because, you know, sometimes that's interesting. Or there could have been a spirit that I could have a chat with. But there's no difference for you. You have a choice all the time in how you're going to soak up what other people are saying. So when you're listening to other people's gossip, other people's idle conversation, like people that like to talk all about their illness or their injuries or their relationship that happened, and you know, there's someone I have come across in recent time, and I notice loves to be able to tell a totally a group of strangers how they were involved, how they had a terrible past relationship, and it was a DV relationship. You know, that stuff doesn't belong anywhere other than you sorting it out for yourself and dealing with what needs to be dealt with, but it's certainly not something that is of a higher frequency. So when you're hearing other people talk about something that happened to another person, if that person is nothing to do with you by way of someone you love dearly and that you would like to pray for, you would like to see life be better for them, then what in the world are you doing in that conversation? Conversations are a huge part of our gut health. The conversations we have with ourselves, the conversations we have with other people, because we digest our words, we digest our own feelings on circumstance, and we also digest our feelings and responses to external conversation. So why would you want to be digesting somebody else's junk, somebody else's sticky dance floor? Why would you want to do that? Now, don't give me the old thing of I'm an empath, oh, I'm so compassionate, oh, it's all about sympathy. Oh, please leave that at the door. You can be an empath, you can be a beautifully compassionate person, sympathetic person, without making somebody else's movie yours, and without it having an impact, a negative impact on your movie. Right? Making sense? So conversations and emotions are things that we actually ingest to a level that you possibly could not even perceive. So it's vital that we understand what conversations we're participating in and what our own responses are to conversations that we're not actually participating in, but we are listening to. So there is a very clever part of the conditioning in this construct, and it is all about woe. It is all about, oh my God, really? It brings around all of those kind of responses, which in turn bring overwhelm and fear. This is a driving force. Oh, thank you, Karen. This is a driving force of this construct, and it's a very clever one that holds people stuck to that old murky carpet, the old sticky dance floor. You need that cleaner to come in with the mop and bucket and clean it up. But so often it's not even recognized. So it doesn't get cleaned up. It doesn't get released. It just piles up. And you get on this treadmill, this circuit of going backwards and forwards to the same old, same old. And that's where you, as the producer, main star of the show, you know, stars of the show are always said to be a pain in the neck because they're demanding, they're hard to work with, they're spoiled, you know, all of those things. Well, this is your movie. So you choose how you, as the producer is the one who, you know, directs everything and makes sure that the scenes are played out in the way that's going to suit the writing of the script. Well, you are also the writer of the script. You are co-writer, but you are writer of the script. So if there's a scene in your script that doesn't suit what it is that you really want to be doing or you want to be hearing about in your life, then you need to go back and rewrite it, not be stuck in somebody else's script. When people have numerous gut health issues, oh, I'm lactose intolerant, I'm gluten intolerant, I'm celiac, I have irritable bowel, I've got Crohn's, I have a nervous stomach, I have too much acid, I have reflux, I get indigestion, I get heartburn, I've got a stomach ulcer. Oh, the list is getting on. Oh, I'm just talking about Jackie. I'm going to put this up here. How funny. When people go on about this stuff, it's very hard for me not to roll my eyes because, as Jackie says, they don't want to listen. They want sympathy. They want empathy. They want compassion. Instead of really looking at what it is that they're not able to digest about their life or haven't been able to digest about their life. They'd rather have a label, and then that's really easy to deal with. So when they go out, they love to espouse. that they've got celiacs or they're gluten intolerant or some such thing, when that is just a veneer, that is one of those sticky floor times where you've been ignoring what is gnawing at you and what has created the gut to be unable to function optimally. The same as a bad back. That's a favourite. Oh, I can't go out. My back's gone out again. I'd love to know where the back goes when people say my back's gone out again. Or my foot's playing up or whatever. It's all in the same pot. It's all in that murkiness of not addressing things in your own script, in your own life. And, talking to my son one day when I was banging my head against the wall with a bit like what Jackie was explaining, trying to help someone get past the label of being celiac. This person wanted to be all of it: celiac, ADHD, lactose intolerant, gluten intolerant. That the more they could put on their list, the happier they were. And it was coming to a point where I could bang my own head against the wall of frustration with them because of their resistance to want to address their own life and their resistance to want to actually be free of those things, which, yes, is absolutely possible. The body and the soul do not like being out of harmony. The body and soul like to be in harmony. Yeah, there you go, Joy. Well, now you can ask yourself, what am I inflamed about? What's inflaming me? So think about the word. I'm inflamed, so in flames. And when a part of the body is inflamed, that's what it's like. It's on fire, it's hot, it's, seething, could even be like a lava coming out of a volcano. So when you ask yourself, what am I inflamed about? Yep, Jackie, they are. Some people just love to be labelled, and most of all, it's an excuse. It's an easy pardon themselves out of things, or they find it a great way to have a conversation, and that's where I go, out, gone. It takes up a lot of space talking about these allergies, intolerances and things. So yes, Kelly's saying people often use their labels to belong, and that's really sad. They find that it's interesting that it gives them a status in a conversation and think that people want to talk about it, when most often people are simply being polite, unless you've got someone of the same mindset sitting around or in that crowd, and yes, they will happily join in the little charade of things. So hard not to do, isn't it, Kelly? So the thing about this is when you have a close relationship. Sorry, I'm listening to Melchizedek. Talk to them about the glory of accepting the divinity of their soul. Oh, I have to write that down before the words go. Excuse me, just one moment. Talk to them about the glory of their soul. Oh, that's so lovely. Beautiful. Oh, yes, this is a favourite of mine, Kelly. And quite often these groups have this very special word, support. Support groups that do nothing to actually help anyone grow beyond where they are, become expansive, understand what it is to be aligned with their soul, and be able to draw on the soul's incredible innate power and wisdom that can guide them out of the rut, out of the condition, illness, whatever the label is. Yeah, that's right. Support them to stay exactly where they are. Yes, spot on. They sure do. Sure do. Now I'm going to mention here, so yes, thank you, Melchizedek, about the glory of the divinity of their own soul. I was sort of on that just then. So yeah, it does, Joe. Now, I like Joe's comment here that it takes a lot of inner work to move through. Yes and no. People find that going on the pathway that I bring forward of being able to be guided, like Melchizedek's talking about, the glory of the divinity of your own soul, and look at it as work, and look at it as having to do practices or do new things. The emphasis on work and do is to be caught in the mundane trappings, very powerful mundane trappings of this existence. Because what are you taught from the start? You are taught that you must go to school, get good grades, go to school, get a job, pay bills. They don't tell you that bit. They don't tell you that bit, but that's how the construct works. So do and work. You have to work really hard. You have to do what's necessary. And so you're there always doing. Doing is a verb, as we know. It's an action word. However, doing, busy, and work actually weigh down and bring you into putting layers on your dance floor, on the floor of your movie. And they're not... Yes, thanks, Kelly. It does. It takes, and yep, it is to make you conform. So those of us who are rebellious and always have been, they will never win with the conform. So we're a bit of a problem. And as Kelly says, it takes inner focus, and the world is set up to distract us, so we cannot focus. And this one I love, work equals slaves. So the whole system here is designed to create slaves. And when people look at going on a path of healing, and very sad to see the word healing has been really messed with in a negative way by the woke crew and even some so-called spiritual people. The fact is, if your leg is broken, it needs to knit and heal for you to have a fully functioning leg. The word heal is very appropriate in anything that you are trying to expand into, that you are moving beyond of where it's been. So when, as Joe said, it takes a lot of inner work, it is more a case of looking at the language that we use and how we are applying the energy that's required for us to be able to have that inner focus. The inner focus is where the language is so very important, and it moves us into a space of a higher frequency, which allows us to then be able to tap into the wisdom and the incredible, amazing power of your own divinity. If you are not a full human, then there's a problem there. But anyway, that's a subject for another day. It is very important to see whether or not you are a slave to your own words, to your own thoughts, and to other people's diatribe. Very much so. So if you buy into those conversations that are on a very low frequency, in fact, I'm going to swap that word out to vibration. They're on a very low vibration when it's all about labels of some kind of imbalance, and that's not even a full word. So all of those conditions that I was referring to before, if it's a choice for you to be in that composition of conversation, then you are holding yourself by choice into a very low frequency, a very low vibration. And it's very hard then to see your way out, because you will be stuck in that. The cornflakes wouldn't even help you slide across the floor when you spend a lot of time with people talking about that stuff. And if you really want to give yourself a nice ramp up in the day and find out how much fun it can be, go and sit in a doctor's surgery. Joking. No, I'm not really. You could go and sit in a doctor's surgery, or you can sit around with people who insist that they have to watch the news because they have to know what's going on. They know that it's not right. They know that it's not true, but they have to watch it because they have to know what's going on. Do you hear that? Do you hear the nonsense in that? And that is what people say. So yes, Jackie, to be free. And that's what the soul yearns for, is to be free and be able to express itself in a way that is expansive. So our conversations are at any time, whether we are having conversations with ourselves and we are digesting our own conversation, our own thoughts, or whether we are taking on other people's conversations and digesting them, means we are either placing ourselves in a place of expansiveness of higher frequency, or we are in a low vibration. And there is no room, there's no way to be able to expand or to be able to hear the call of the soul and the guidance of the soul. And then if I up level that to beyond the soul, so we have the God mind, some call it the God consciousness, the Christ consciousness. We have your personal guides, your spirit guides. You have your spirit. I do a lot of that, Jackie. You have your guardians who are appointed to you. And then you have all of these beautiful, beautiful higher beings, the higher archangels, the ascended masters, all of whom just love to have you call for them and be able to sit with them and have them assist you on your show, on your play, on your movie. But no, it's much easier to be in the murkiness and all these layers here and get into these old patterns. So let me go to the God mind, which happens to be what Melchizedek was talking about, your own divinity, your divineness, the glory of the divinity of your soul. When you choose to not be digesting your own thoughts that are of a low vibration, and you decide to move into a higher frequency, you begin to reach more to the guidance of your own soul and therefore your own divinity. When you decide to align with the guidance of the highest mind of God, the Christ consciousness, everything changes, and it changes so quickly. But if you are a slave to your thoughts, to what's going on with other people's lives, to labels that you choose to use to describe yourself, it's going to be like a game of snakes and ladders. Anybody remember that? So you go up the ladder, and you meet with that higher divine self, and then you go straight back down the snake and you're back where you started. Or some people, it's just a continual circle. It's a never decreasing circle, and they wonder why. Then beyond that, beyond your own divinity, is being able to be aligned to the God mind. And for the life of me, I have to do what Jackie's got up there. To put it here, because I do a lot of this. Face palming, palm to face, It's like people just want to deny that is so readily accessible. Melchizedek says, absolutely correct. It is denial, outright denial, and choosing to believe that as they are perceiving and taking on the things around them, the things that come to them, they slip down a very slippery slope and end up back at the start again. So it becomes that word of it's too hard. I obviously can't count. It's more than a word there. It becomes too hard. And now I feel like I've got to work hard. I have to do all this stuff, do things to be able to have this alignment with my own divinity, with the Christ consciousness. And that's so not true. That is the earth mind that is trapped in the experiences, the lived experiences, that has not yet healed those and isn't willing to heal them. Now, that word is really important. Your willingness to make change about your movie, your willingness to make change of your script is held in your hands and your hands only, nobody else's. Don't even consider pointing at what the doctor said, what the chemist gave me, what the x-ray said, what the test said. No, you're a long way short of being able to move even off first base, even being able to put a foot on the first rung of a ladder, if that is the way that you are putting your mind into gear or letting your mind run the show. So you're a slave to your mind. Then there is being able to access the beautiful guidance of your own guides, your spirit guides. Now, in recent years, there's a big thing about your own soul family. Are the soul family different to your spirit guides? Yes and no. Is that helpful? Yes and no. Once again, this comes down to words, use of words, perception, expectations, everything that belongs in this world. And when anything that is about soul expression and soul expansion is attached to things of this world, it's not going to work. So labels are the major problem. And why do we want labels? So that we can be accepted, so that we fit in, so that we feel worthy, and of course the U-Butte one, so we can understand. When you have an unwavering faith and you know in your heart that what you are wanting to express and be expansive, there is no requirement for understanding. Your soul, when you open to that divinity in yourself willingly, without resistance, without expectations, without listening to the ramblings of the mind, then there is no requirement for understanding, because you are in a place of knowing. And when you are in a place of knowing from the highest level of yourself and choose to align that highest level of yourself with the divine, the word understand doesn't even exist. Now, if I bring that into everyday life, if you were to have a car accident, or it's probably the best example, when you go to report that to the police, you have to be able to explain what happened. So you could very well find yourself wanting to understand how it happened. Now, I'm not going to go into the intricacies of how you bring things into your life, because there is no such thing as an accident. Remember, you are the script writer. You co-create and you call things in, whether it be something wonderful or not so wonderful. But looking at the word understand. So when we want to know how an accident happened on the face of it, right, we'll want to understand. And when you go to explain to the police, you're explaining from that place of understanding. Is that making sense? What's Jackie saying? Experiencing others do not want to listen to me helping them. No, they continue to blabber words in their story. They're just not interested. Deny and ignore their power. Oh, yep. Been there, done that for a lot of years, Jackie. So yes, I hear you and understand entirely. So the word understand belongs in this construct. It belongs in the mind of your physical self, right? It does not have a place in being aligned with your soul and aligned with your highest guidance. So when we want to meet with our guides, spirit guides, we have to be able to have complete openness, willingness. There is no expectation. There is no want to understand. Only the mind asks questions. Only the mind wants to understand. The soul has all the information. If you were to learn how to connect with your Akashic records, which I will also point out, you are not always permitted access. So if you meet someone who says they're going to look into your Akashic records, I would be asking the question, who gave you permission? Because even you yourself must be able to have an explanation as to why you want to go into your Akashic records and what it is you're looking for there. So be wary of people that use that word and say they're going to take you there. For me, as a spiritual teacher, I can show you how to request to access your Akashic records in a way that is permitted and in a way that is going to be helpful to you. So when you want to meet with your guides, there must be this incredible openness, willingness without exception. And beliefs play a big part in that. And then if you wanted to go further and sit with archangels, sit with your soul family, then there is, again, a need for complete, unadulterated willingness to receive their guidance and receive their energy. If there is a busy mind that wants to look at this analytically and wants all this understanding of the ins and outs of it, you're going to find that a very big hurdle to be able to access sitting with them, because there really isn't anything so complicated. There's nothing complicated in the other realms. Nothing. Complication only belongs here, and it sits firmly in the earth mind. And we create that through over questioning, through wanting to understand. And this comes back again to how we are taught. Go to school to get an education. Well, the soul doesn't need an education. What you need is to remember. Remember your divinity and be prepared to want to hear it and to sit with it. So I was talking about the words doing and work before. When we are wanting to embrace these beautiful encounters with our own divinity, with the divine, with guides, with archangels, with ascended masters. It's not about doing work. When you are going to experience and take up the art of yoga, you don't do yoga, you practice yoga. Yoga is about being able to come into an incredible space of stillness in the body, which, when practiced, opens you up to receiving the guidance of the soul. And yet there are so many yoga teachers that are in their head when they're not recognizing what is coming through the body, from the soul, through being in the asana, the pose, the posture. I know that when I learnt the aspects of yoga, when I did my certification to be a H.E.A.L instructor, learning the poses, the asanas, was really interesting. And the learning side of it took a little bit of time, getting used to how to place your feet, how to hold your knees, how to understand the importance of where your hips were placed, what the muscles on the thigh was doing. That, we could say, is all the technicality. But once the technicality is down pat and you know how to place yourself into those poses, then the willingness comes in. But if the mind is in the game all the time of asking questions, of wanting to understand, you cannot get over that bridge. The mind stands in the way of getting to that higher awareness and being able to receive the incredible wisdom and power of your own divinity, and so on. So when we think about looking at stepping into expansiveness and soul alignment, if it seems that you're having to do work and you're doing practices, then hold up immediately, because there is no doing. The practices that take you to being able to sit in your own divinity are a practice, and they are something of an experience. So to use the word practice, some whiz kid decided in the last couple of years that even the word practice, if you go to a practitioner, you're not really going to a valued person, because they're still practicing. Well, I can tell you that in the light of becoming aligned with your divine self and aligned with God consciousness and all of those other beautiful beings, it is practice. And it's about practicing constantly to openness. It's a practice of openness, a practice of focus, a practice of expansion. Do you see the difference in the words? What I find is a lot of people get bogged down in, I'm doing the practices, I'm working so hard at this, I'm not getting anywhere, but I'm working so hard at it. Oh, well, there's your trap right there. I'm working so hard at this. All of those words, hard, working, and making it sound like it is an enormous challenge, the words in themselves are a great big chain around your feet and around your soul. When you look at healing, it's not about working to heal. It's not about doing to heal. It is about healing. I am healing. I call in the wisdom of the highest intelligence of my divine self to bring the healing energy through every single cell of my body. And then you work on that frequency. Work on that frequency. You be on that frequency. Do you see how the words can be interplayed all the time because of habit, because of being used to this construct? I'm going to work on healing myself. I'm going to work on doing the inner work. When really, if we looked at the willingness, I open myself to receive the guidance. I am willing to receive the healing of my soul, the healing power of my soul. Can you feel the difference in the words? Every word holds a frequency, and how we are projecting that frequency is what changes everything. And it's what changes your script, your movie. And how amazing is that? And it really is that simple. And when it's like that, that's when healing happens very quickly. When we are looking at imbalances or the body being out of balance, out of alignment, then it's nobody's business than yours. And to spend time with yourself in asking, like Joy said, I've never thought to ask myself, what am I inflamed about? If you have a really bad dermatitis or eczema, it's irritation and inflammation. So you could ask yourself, what am I irritated about? And you've got to be open. Not, oh, there's nothing I know of. I'm not irritated about anything. Oh no, not half. Look at your hand. It's just, flaming out there. You could make a power ball of fire out of it. It's so inflamed. Or I can't even enjoy an apple at the moment. My gut is so inflamed. My irritable bowel is really giving me trouble at the moment. My colitis is really inflamed. My. And that's the other thing. Owning the label, turning yourself into that description. Meantime, the soul's going, oh, let me out of here. Give me a break. So the words that you want to use are open, willing, welcoming, expansion, focus, inner focus, I am focused, I am aligned, and most importantly, having a look at your conversations, your fret about other people's lives. What's it got to do with you? So if you're stuck in the woe of someone else's movie, what are you trying to do? Bump them off the main stage and take over their role? What are you doing there? As I said, when I was out last night, I could have, jumped into a number of co-lead roles. I'm not interested in that. This is my life. And I want to live it to the very best that I can. And I want to be open to experience the incredible nature of my soul. How about you? Where are you at? What you read, what you listen to, you digest all of it. So if you are having some kind of issue in the workings of your pipes in your physical self or the joints in your physical self, it's time to take a really big overhaul. If you're not able to sleep, what is it that is troubling you? What is it that is keeping you from sleeping? Oh, you're very welcome, Joy. Glad you're enjoying it. It's fascinating stuff. And yes, try not to think too much. Make a decision on whether you're going to be living this life to the very best through willingness, through being open, openness, and focusing on being the script writer of a top class movie, or is it going to be a B grade? there's a choice. It's a word people are starting to get tired of, but there's a choice all the time. We choose all the time. Now, for those of you who are parents, who are, you have children, and you're looking at difficulties that are appearing in their life, things that you are seeing as a difficulty, or that they are struggling at school. Once again, remember, school is a system. It is a system of this system, this construct. So when a child is struggling at school, it does not necessarily mean that they have got learning difficulties. It also doesn't mean that they necessarily have behavioral difficulties. It can also be something to do with the teacher themselves, with the other teachers, the principal, the way that the power is felt through the school. It can be to do with the other kids in the class. There are lots of anomalies. So as a parent, if you're looking at your child and you are being concerned about your child because you believe, are you hearing the words? You believe that life's not going good for them, or life could be better, that they are being labelled, then I ask you to step back and observe your own interpretations, then make a choice on how you feel you can assist your child. It is different doing that than getting lost in the woe of what you are perceiving is going wrong in their life. So you see, it doesn't matter whether someone we are absorbing their life and trying to live their life or direct their life. It doesn't matter whether they are a stranger, a neighbor, a family member, or our own child. The thing to remember, it's not your life. You have a role. You have, as a parent, a responsibility. As a spouse, a responsibility. But if you are in your mind and you are looking for the understanding to come through the earth mind, then you've closed off the openness, the willingness to receive the incredible guidance, the insights, the wisdom, not only from your own soul, but from higher beings. And there is nothing hard about that except the parameters, the fences, the barbed wire, the sticky bits that you want to add to it. There is nothing hard about it. It is a choice. I say I am willing to receive. I am open to receive. And that's it. You begin your day like that. You give thanks at the end of the day and close your day with that. You can even ask for guidance as you sleep so that you can have the solution to an issue when you wake in the morning. Now, it's not going to be like lift your pillowcase up and see if the tooth fairy came and left you $5. If you ask for a solution, show me is the words you use. Show me how to manage blah, blah, blah situation. If you are asking about something that is of an earthly matter and it is simply coming from the mind as unnecessary overwhelm, you will receive answers always, but they will not come in the way that you expect. So when you open yourself to receive and you are asking for a solution, for guidance, for clarity, for vitality, simply leave it as that and remain open to receive. Because the minute you make a decision, an expectation on how that's going to come through and what it should be, it's never going to work. So that's like looking for the $5 under your pillowcase. Where's the answer? Where's the answer? What am I supposed to do? What do I do about this? It's not going to be the answer. It's not going to be there. But if you remain open through willingness and a want of expansion, you'll have the most amazing things come to you through the day. And your willingness means you're willing to see what's brought to you, hear what's brought to you that assists you in what it is you're looking for, that you need or want help with. Now, I'm going to put a caveat on here. If you are stuck in the human construct, you will not get an answer to something that is mundane, that is lame. You know, fix my husband. Stop him from doing this. It really irritates me when he does that. Why does my partner do this or that? Can you show me how I'm going to sort that out? No. You're not going to get any answers to that because you're the one with the problem. You need to sort yourself out. So when it comes to healing, you can apply exactly the same thing. You focus on being willing to receive the healing energy. And you ask that you receive it in its highest level of divine light. And then you leave it be. If you go looking for your ailment, it'll be there because you didn't believe. And that's the other side of the coin. Anytime that you are wanting to bring in a higher awareness, you're wanting to seek the higher guidance, but there's a little thing running at the background that's going on, it's not really ever going to work and I probably won't like the answer anyway. Well, then you've just negated yourself. You just blew it out the water. Faith is something that I talk on often with clients because over the years, the decades, I've come to be very aware that the majority of people, even those raised as under religious banners, actually don't have a very good concept and appreciation of faith. If there was, there wouldn't be a problem with health. If there was a complete alignment and awareness of faith, things would change overnight. Now, in saying that, sometimes the physical body actually needs time for you to catch up. The physical body can actually heal miraculously. Absolutely miraculously. However, it is the mind, the doing, the work, the words, the conversations that prevent that. So a good starting place is coming to really know where you sit with faith and belief. So as Joyce said, lots to think about, but I hope you won't overthink the messages. I hope that you will simply take the guidance of being prepared, allowing yourself to be open to receive, to be willing to step into the expansiveness, to embody and embrace incredible guidance and miraculous healing energy. Truly, it will change your life in so many ways. It affects your abundance, your sense of place in your own movie, the way that work flows for you, your enthusiasm, your joy for your life, for the work that you may be doing. Be grateful to yourself and grateful to the divine. Thank you, Kelly. Glad you enjoyed it. And Ash, Another insightful session. Could almost write a book with these, hey? So thank you all very much for coming and joining myself and Melchizedek this evening. It's been a lovely time to be with you, and I really appreciate you. So much love to all, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, what are you going to choose? You're welcome, Kylie. Fascinating tonight. Thank you, Divine Gwenda and Melchizedek, and the Divine Incredible Guidance. Pleasure. Thank you so much, Gwenda. Very affirming. Love to you. Much love to you. Joe, thank you. And Karen, thank you all very much. Lots of love to you. Good night now.